Hello, fellow AFOLs, and welcome to Long's Bricks. Today we are taking a look at set 76274, Batman with the Batmobile versus Harley Quinn and Mr. Freeze. Bit of a mouthful. It has 435 pieces and retails for about $60. I got mine on Target.com because for whatever reason, my local Target still has not stocked it. I did, however, finally see it today at Walmart, so it's starting to get out there. I believe it was back ordered on Lego.com the last time I checked, but if you look around, you should be able to find it online or in store somewhere. It just came out August 1st, so it'll be around. But this is a set that I am very, very excited for. I have been since it was announced. I am a huge fan of Batman the Animated Series, so I was very excited to start getting some kind of playset-esque sets. Now, back when they announced the Batman the Animated Series direct-to-consumer Gotham City, I was very excited because I thought, what could that be? Is that going to be like a couple buildings, maybe some play sets, a bank with some play features, having criminals rob the bank, something like that? And it turned out to be that kind of wall-mounted, picturesque set, which is still a really cool set. Just for me personally, I'm more excited for like playset type things that come with minifigures and play features and things like that. Just kind of what's in my wheelhouse personally. So when this got announced, I was very excited. I'm really hoping that this is not the end of this. The fact that it does come with this little plaque here, which we'll get into a little bit more later on, leads me to believe that maybe this is all we're going to get, given the fact that I think for Batman the '89 movie, we got two sets in the form of the Batmobile and the Batwing, and that was it. And then for Batman Returns, all we got was that big shadow box set, which is very cool, but that was really it as well. So between this and the large Gotham City set, this could be it, but I feel like there's so much potential for other things that they could do, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later on, but I want to dive into this. We have, of course, our three minifigures with Batman, Harley Quinn, and Mr. Freeze, and again, just to get back to that name, that's a mouthful. I don't know why Lego does it this way. I don't know if it's so it shows up in search results or they just want to get all the names out there that they're paying for the rights to use. I don't know. But Batman with the Batmobile versus Harley Quinn and Mr. Freeze, it's just a boring name. I mean, I guess it's got all the buzzwords in there. You can see all the trademark symbols, about 4 of them in there. So I guess, but I wish they would have a little bit more creative, Batmobile Chase or I don't know, something. Just come up with something. In any case, I'm going to take a quick look at the box and then we'll move into the set. So first off, I think the box looks really great. I like the art here with the Batmobile. You have Harley Quinn attacking with the hammer. You have Mr. Freeze over here using the Freeze Blast Ray. I love seeing the Batman the Animated Series Batman down here in the corner. I think that's so cool. Up here you have just a little one-to-one for Mr. Freeze. Not really anything going on the bottom. Not really going on the sides either, but I do love to see that Batman the Animated Series logo. I think that's so cool. And then here on the back, you can see Batman's kind of grappling with Mr. Freeze over here. It shows you how to use the little rotating plaque base, which again, we'll take a look at in a moment, and then advertises a couple of the other features and whatnot. But yeah, it's a cool box. It's pretty large, honestly. I was surprised. I guess it's about normal for a $60 set, but I love that, you have the Batmobile here front and center on the front, so I think that looks absolutely fantastic. Let's go ahead, let's get into the set. Jumping first into our minifigures, of course we have to start with Batman. I think this version of Batman looks pretty great. They've painted the little trunks there on him. He does have dual molded legs. We'll take a little better look at that once we take the cape off in a second. Speaking of that cape, it is a kind of plastic rubbery piece. So it is not a cloth cape, which I think is interesting. I think it looks good. I also would have really enjoyed if they had included a version of the cape that could kind of drape over the front. If you're going to do something plastic and rubbery anyway, do 2 versions of the cape so that you can have kind of almost like a square box, since Batman would kind of walk around completely covered in his cape. I always thought that was such a cool look. I love the look of the Batman symbol there on the chest, as well as the utility belt. And I think the cowl looks great. It does have that dual molded cowl so that those white eyes are always there, and you don't have to worry about the band on the forehead lining up. I'm going to go ahead and remove those pieces. So without them now, you can see the head underneath. Doesn't have to worry about that bandana like I mentioned. And spinning it around to the back, you can see you have the utility belt there as well. And you can really see those dual molded legs, which look really sharp. I like that quite a bit. And then as far as the helmet goes, you can see inside here, if I can get the light in there, that the white is inside. So that way those eyes are always present. Literally any minifigure could wear this, which I think is kind of neat. But overall, I do really like the look of this Batman. I think they did a nice job. I don't know why, but I kind of stupidly want the utility belt to be painted on the sides. I don't think that's something they ever do, but I think that would be a nice touch. Next up, we have Harley Quinn, and I feel like this massive hammer, I wanted to show it from this angle just to show that it almost completely covers up her entire body. It is an absolutely massive accessory, but I think that's kind of the point. She always had this kind of crazy giant mallets. Some nice printing here on this piece to kind of show the wood grain, which I think is kind of neat. Not on both sides. I thought that was kind of a weird choice, but I think it's because of the way it's built. They had to have kind of a tiled bottom with studs so that they can all kind of build on top of each other. I guess they could have custom painted it. I would have liked to see that on both sides, but they couldn't just kind of include this piece twice because of the way that it's built. But I like having at least one of them. Removing the hammer so we can get a better look at the printing here. I think overall it's pretty good. The white on the chest and the face is not as bad as I was afraid. We've seen some other figures kind of reminding me right now of Captain Fox, where you would have the white painted on red and it just would look pink. I think they did a pretty good job here. The face, a little bit, I think it bleeds through the tiniest bit. I think the chest came out pretty good, but all of the other printing on the legs and everything to complete her costume with the diamonds, I think all came out pretty good. Taking a look on the back here. Now, I believe this is just a standard Jester piece that they've had for a while with the headpiece here. I don't think that's anything new, but if I go ahead and pop that off, you can kind of see a little bit better what I'm talking about, where the white on the face is just the tiniest little bit with that red bleeding through. It's not terrible, but just the tiniest bit. You can see it a little bit worse on this side. She does have two faces for two expressions here. But I think they did a pretty decent job of having that white look white, even though it's painted on red plastic. Last but certainly not least, we have Mr. Freeze. I think they did a fantastic job with this. I do think the Freeze gun is a little bland. It's just one of these stud shooter guns with kind of like a nice light teal. I don't even know what color you'd call that. For like an ice blast. This is a little boring to me. It would have been nice if they could have come up with some kind of custom blaster for him. But other than that, really nice job on the deco. I think the head looks great. The piece here for the dome on his head looks fantastic. All of the printing looks really good. They have the band. I think it's weird that they have the band on the back, but there's gaps. I don't know why they couldn't have just painted the band all the way around. It's the same thing with me kind of wanting that utility belt on the side of the figure. Just doesn't seem to be something they do, but it's weird to have a band go around his head and have those gaps. Printing on the back I think is kind of nice, but if you've seen the show, I feel like he should have some kind of tank on his back. That's the coolant that kind of powers his suit. So I wish he had, even if it was like one of those old, spaceman like oxygen tanks on the back. I think that could even work. Something as simple as that. Just he should have some kind of tank on his back for the coolant. But other than that, it's a pretty great looking minifigure. Getting into the actual set itself, I think the Batmobile looks really, really good. I love the job that they did here. I've seen some people online complain that it's navy blue as opposed to black. And I feel like that's something that even I myself have always been confused about with Batman the Animated Series. When you look at the Batmobile and kind of the opening credits of the show, I can't really tell if it's blue or if it's black. Even Batman's kind of entire motif for his costume, I think it's supposed to be black, but they've always given it kind of a navy blue sheen to kind of show definition. But then as a kid, that always kind of made me think that it just was navy blue as opposed to black. Even the original toy, I feel like on the box, it looked navy blue. And then when you actually looked at the toy that was in the box, it looked a little bit more black. So I feel like no one's really gotten it right or known which is correct. I personally probably would have liked it in either color, but I think I prefer the navy blue. I think just as a kid watching that show, everything seemed navy blue to me. If you would have asked the 10-year-old me, is this black or navy blue? I think I probably would have said it's navy blue, but yeah, I don't know. I like this though. I think the color scheme for this is perfectly fine. It does have this little plaque and like rotating base here, just to show this off quick, and then we'll kind of get rid of it. But it does rotate around. It doesn't have like a set place that it's supposed to attach to underneath. You can kind of just attach it wherever you like. But it is just a very basic little brick built base here that has this piece, and it rotates around like that. Now, unfortunately, the little plaque here is one massive sticker. I got lucky, and it actually applied pretty nicely. I was able to line it up. I don't always have the best luck with that. I do wish this was printed. It's not so big that the sticker's impossible to line up, because I feel like I did a pretty decent job with it, but it just would be nice if it was printed. But I love the logo here. All that looks fantastic. You get a little bit of stats there for the Batmobile. So again, the fact that we have this plaque kind of makes me feel like this is the only one we're going to get. Like they're trying to pretend this is a little UCS set or something like that. Because I feel like the Batman 89 sets didn't have anything like this for the two playset sized ones with the Batmobile and the Batwing. So I don't know. I'm hoping this is not the end of this, but this little base is included and it's decent. It's a nice little base. But I think the Batmobile looks really, really good. I think they did a nice job. You have this kind of, design here in the front that I think is really nicely done. You have some stickers here in the front for the headlights. You have these little guns here on the front. The nice thing is you can easily remove these. So if you don't like the look of these, you can take these right off. I personally love the look of this without the guns. I think they did such a good job. They really nailed the design here. It has that kind of longer, front of the car that I feel like with these attached, it's kind of taken away from it. But the nice thing is, if you want to put them right back on, they just have these little holes here, and these pieces just peg right in there. Very simple to remove them. They're just some basic stud shooters, nothing really that exciting. Oh, I actually took the piece off. Well, that's all right. Maybe it's not as easy to remove as I previously thought. But I guess it's easy enough to show you. So because of this, let me move the base out of the way here. So with this piece here, you can see it's just one of these kind of flat tile bottoms with the studs, very similar to the piece I showed you in Harley's hammer. And that is just pegged in here so that that hole is present, so that way you can just pop these in very simply. Maybe just put your thumb here when you want to pop them out. But it's nice. They add something, but they're easily removable. If you don't like them, you don't have to have them whatsoever. And I don't really think those two little holes take anything away from the overall design. I love how they did this. I think that adds such a beautiful detail and just really nails the look of the Batmobile. You have a really interesting build process, though, for all these kind of little pieces here. There's a lot of little sections that you kind of build with like a hook, like a little clip, and then it clips into a piece. That way it's not just completely building on top of each other. It's kind of like little sections that you clip in. It's a really interesting build technique. I think the wheels are good, very simple, just rubber tires. They work really well. All the contouring here, I think you have this, which looks really, really good. The top of it looks really nice here. You have a feature, of course, in the back with the flame, so that when you roll the back tire, it does rotate the flame. We see that a lot with Batmobiles. Not really anything new there. You have the tail lights down here. But I absolutely love this. I think that works really well. The one thing I will say about this, that it's a common problem with a lot of Batmobiles, and this Batmobile, at least in the media, as well as the 89 Batmobile, have the kind of cockpit area, or whatever you want to call this, where it slides forward and Batman gets in and out. It doesn't rotate up like this. The only 89 Batmobile I have is actually part of the Shadow Box set, and that piece you just have to pop off. It just, you tab it on, or I should say connect it with a couple studs. You just have to take that off, put them in, and then put it back down. This one at least has a hinge, which I do like, and we'll see the interior in a moment. But they did it for the General Grievous Starfighter, where they had the cockpit slide open, and I really wish that they could finally do it for a Batmobile, because it should have it. That's how this, and especially the 89 Batmobile, open and close. So if you can do it for General Grievous, why can't you do it for Batman? That's all I'm saying. But if we open this up, you have a lot of really nice detail in here. If I can zoom in, you can see we have a couple of stickers. I'm going to go ahead and remove these pieces, because it should be easy enough to do, and it'll make it a lot easier to see this detail here. So sticker here, right there for the kind of top console, as well as those two side consoles. And then you have one of those like bucket pieces for like the control yoke. If you can see that there. The interesting thing, if you can see this, there's a lot of open space there. And the reason for that is that you do not have to remove Batman's cape to put him in the Batmobile. So they have kind of left some empty space there in the back so that you can just leave the cape like that and slide him in. And he just fits right in there, and then you can close it right up. So you don't have to remove the cape, which I thought was a nice touch, considering, you know, they've given us the plastic cape with no kind of cloth cape alternative. And so they made it so that you do not have to remove the cape when putting him in and out of the Batmobile, because that would get really tiresome, I really feel like. And of course, I have to put these pieces back on. Otherwise, it does not look correct. But yeah, really nice stickers in there for the consoles. I just love the look of this. I think they did a really good job. It's an iconic look for this Batmobile, and I think they really nailed it here. And just all in all, I really like this. I definitely prefer the guns removed, but it's a really good look. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with this set. Few minor tweaks, you know, with the Mr. Freeze, I wish they had given him his own unique gun. I wish they had molded something that more closely resembles what his gun looked like on the show, just because I thought they had kind of a cool design. And this just feels kind of lazy, just throwing that stud shooter gun in there that they've used for 100 things. And I kind of wish that the strap for his goggles went all the way around the head, having those gaps in the side. Just a little weird. Not a problem. I just wish it would be nice if they went all the way around. I also wish he had some kind of tank on his back for the coolant. But overall, I think he's a pretty good minifigure. But if I'm making my wish list to make him a perfect minifigure, that's what I would wish for. I think Harley Quinn, pretty good. I mean, the white on the face, I was worried about the red bleeding through. Not really so much of a problem here. Could be a little bit brighter white, but again, I'm not going to complain about it. I think it's pretty spot on. The Batman minifigure, I think, looks really good as well. Same thing with Mr. Freeze's goggle strap. I would love the utility belt to go all the way around, but they don't really paint the sides of minifigures, so I get it. Again, just if I was going to tweak it to be an absolutely perfect minifigure. But I'm honestly pretty happy with all three of the minifigures. I'm really happy with the Batmobile. I don't even know if I can find something to complain about with it. I really like it. I know some people wish it was black as opposed to navy blue. Personally, I like it navy blue. I don't have a problem with that. I really like the way it turned out. I think they did a great job. I just want more Batman the Animated Series sets, and the inclusion of this little plaque really scares me. It really makes me feel like they did the big Gotham City set, and then this one with the little plaque, because they're kind of doing an offering or a small smattering for each iteration of Batman in media, because it's the big anniversary for Batman this year. And I would love a whole line of Batman TAS sets. I mean, I would love maybe like Robin with a bike and a couple of villain figures. It could be a small $25, $30 set, something like that. I would absolutely love a Batcave, big giant play set from Batman the Animated Series, just because, you know, that's the show I watched that as much as a kid, and I loved that iteration of the Batcave. I would love some giants. They could even throw a Batman Beyond minifigure in there, and we could kind of use it for both. Something like that would be really, really cool. I mean, there are tons of things, you know, a Two-Face hideout, a chemical plant with the Joker. The list goes on and on. But I just really wish we would get more Batman TAS sets, and I feel like they're going to move on too quickly to the next iteration of Batman in media, because I think there's a rumored Tumblr set not too far in the future. And so because it's the anniversary, they want to kind of hit everything, and so they're going to do a little bit of each. But I wish they would take their time, or maybe come back to this later or something like that, because I feel like there's so much potential with this series for sets, and I really want a lot of them. This is probably Batman 89 and this cartoon are probably my favorite Batman pieces of media in terms of movie, TV shows, etc. And so I just selfishly want them to never stop making sets for these two pieces of media. I understand that the movie doesn't lend itself that much. I mean, they did the Shadow Box. That Batcave could be used for Batman and Batman Returns. They did the Batmobile. They did the Batwing. I get they kind of tapped that out. the animated series has a lot of potential, I think. So many characters, so many minifigures, so many different sets they could do, locations, play sets, vehicles, anything like that. And I just really cross my fingers that we get something else. But if this is all we get, I think this is a pretty good offering. Now, a happy compromise could be a Batman the Animated Series minifigure CMF set. I think that could be a happy compromise because maybe you don't have the time to invest in a bunch of sets, but you could at least give us more of the villains from that show that we could kind of use other Batcaves. I mean, with the Lego Batman movie, we had so many Batman sets, and technically you could utilize some of the minifigures from those, but this show just had such an iconic style to it, and so I would love to see more minifigures specifically from this show. So we'll have to cross our fingers and wait and see. But I definitely think this set is worth picking up. Now, it's 435 pieces at $60. People who look at the price to part ratio there might not be very happy, but I don't think it's outside the realm of, being reasonable for the price. I mean, I feel like it would have to at least be $50. And I think that's too low, just kind of going by what we see from Lego. I don't think this is, up at like Star Wars levels of ridiculous, what we starting to see from Lego Star Wars in terms of price per part ratio. I think this is fair. I think this is fine. Could it be cheaper? Sure. But it's not so expensive that I think it's unreasonable. I think, like I said, 50 would be the bare minimum, I think. It being 60, I don't think is ridiculous. You have some nice minifigures. You have a little plaque. The car looks amazing. So I definitely think it's worth checking out. Now, if you want to wait for a 20% off sale, I think that's going to be the perfect sweet spot because that's going to be about $12 off. So you're looking at 48. That's a steal. I understand if you want to wait for a sale, but if you pick this one up at 60, I don't think you'll regret it, especially if you are a huge Batman the Animated Series fan like myself. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I want to hear from you. Are you picking this one up? Have you already? Are you waiting for a sale? Do you have any ideas for other Batman TAS sets that they should do? I'd love to hear from you guys. Things I just didn't think of. I'm sure there's so much potential. Do you have a favorite location? Something they could do like a police station with a bat signal, something like that. Let me hear your ideas. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And as always, thank you so much for watching.